Spain, a country known for its stunning Mediterranean coastline, vibrant cities, and rich history, attracted a record 94 million tourists in 2024, making it the second most visited country in the world. However, this surge in tourism has led to concerns about overtourism, overcrowding, and a growing housing affordability crisis in major cities. As a response, Spain's government is enacting new regulations to balance tourism with the needs of its residents. What is Spain's response to overtourism and housing issues? The rapid influx of tourists in Spain has raised significant concerns among locals, particularly in cities like Barcelona and Madrid, where rental prices have skyrocketed. The rise in short-term rentals, catering mostly to visitors, has contributed to the housing crisis by driving up prices and limiting availability for local residents. In response to these challenges, Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez introduced a 12-part plan aimed at addressing housing issues, including stricter regulations for short-term rentals. What changes can tourists expect from these new regulations? Well, if you dream of spending a few weeks lounging on the beaches of Malaga, then you need to hit the pause button now. While Spain is not imposing an outright tourist ban, several cities, including Malaga, have started regulating short-term holiday rentals. Barcelona has already laid out plans to close down the city's 10,000 short-term rental apartments, starting in a few years. This means that cities like Barcelona and Madrid will be putting up a locals-only sign in certain neighborhoods, hoping that a little less tourists will lead to a little more space for the locals living there. Starting in January 2025, a new law will freeze the registration of new short-term rentals for 3 years in 43 districts, where these rentals make up more than 8% of residential properties. This measure, approved by Malaga's City Council in December 2024, follows local protests against housing shortages and the rising costs of living, which many residents attribute to the influx of tourists. The new regulations aim to curb the impact of short-term rentals, particularly in areas where the housing market is under pressure. From February 22, 2025, tourist flats that do not have independent access separate from residential units will have their licenses revoked. While these measures are being introduced, travelers can still enjoy their trips to Spain, except that they need to rent a hotel as the more affordable Airbnbs may become fewer. In short, the focus is shifting towards promoting more sustainable and balanced tourism that prioritizes both residents and visitors. Why is Spain taking these measures? Spain's housing affordability issue has worsened in recent years, especially in popular tourist destinations. Rents have soared, particularly in coastal cities and popular tourist hubs, creating a disparity between the cost of living for locals and the influx of short-term renters. The government is taking steps to prioritize long-term residents and make housing more accessible for them. Stricter regulations on short-term rentals aim to alleviate the pressure on local housing markets. Additionally, Spain's new regulations will require tourists to provide more personal details when booking accommodations or renting vehicles, with the introduction of a new law mandating the collection of passport information, home addresses, and payment details for national security purposes. Is overtourism a global challenge? Overtourism is a phenomenon where the number of tourists exceeds the capacity of a destination, negatively impacting both the environment and the quality of life for local residents. Countries around the world are taking similar measures to mitigate the effects of overtourism. From Italy to Japan, governments are implementing policies to control the number of visitors and manage tourism in a more sustainable way. What travelers should know. Number 1. As for accommodation, tourists can still book hotel stays and short-term rental properties in most areas of Spain, but certain regulations are being introduced to ensure a more balanced distribution of visitors. Number 2. For car rentals and hotels, new paperwork will be required that may be cumbersome at times for some tourists. Hotel owners and car rental companies will collect and send personal information, including passport details, to the Spanish government. Number 3. Tourism in Spain will largely remain unaffected, while regulations are increasing. Spain continues to offer a wealth of travel experiences, from historical landmarks to beautiful beaches, making it a must-visit destination for travelers. Spain isn't alone in addressing overtourism. Other countries such as Italy, Greece, Thailand, and Japan have also enacted measures to curb the negative impacts of excessive tourism. These regulations are part of a global effort to protect both the environment and the livelihoods of local communities. Spain's new regulations aim to strike a balance between tourism and housing, ensuring that locals have access to affordable housing while still welcoming millions of tourists. Visitors should be aware of these changes and plan accordingly. As Spain moves forward with its strategy, other countries facing similar challenges may follow suit to create a more sustainable and enjoyable experience for both residents and tourists. Subscribe to Travel Indie for more travel adventures. Until next time, goodbye.